Crypto DLT with Mr. Conectr. Be sure to subscribe. Hit the notification bell for daily content. Let's go.
Particularly Circle, just flying since its IPO. You run an investment bank. I'm sure you have thoughts about how that should have been priced ultimately. And you have companies like JP Morgan saying that they're going to get in a bigger way. Amazon, Walmart. Do you think something fundamental is going to change about the financial system now that that bill has crossed the Senate?
Listen, we set up Galaxy 2017 with the idea that institutions would finally come to the market, and they're here. And it's a really exciting time. We're going to get the stablecoin bill and then hopefully a market structure bill. And it's going to bring in TradeFi into this technology. We're going to see tokenized equities. We're going to see perpetual futures, which is a crypto idea, be brought into the US, both for crypto and for non-crypto. It's a different way of looking at derivatives. And so I think, like what I'm thinking from our firm's perspective is we're going to partner with people. We're going to have white label solutions for people, and we're going to have our own, solutions for our customers. That every crypto company is now thinking, how do we go to this next chapter?
The next chapter in crypto. Let's go, guys. What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Conectr back again. Good to see everybody up in the stream already. We've got coming in first place today, XRP Master. What's up, Mr. Master in the house? All right, we got Bobby T second and Evan XRP third. Good to see you guys as well as Lower Level and D Cartel. All right, cool. Today in crypto, welcome, guys. Welcome to the Conectr stream. Just getting going today. Hope you guys are doing good on this Thursday, June the 19th already. Wow, moving right along. We're less than a month away, guys, from FedNow activating ISO standards, and it looks like a go. Let's go. Okay, we've got a couple things happening today. We had a big password leak, the biggest ever. 16 billion passwords were leaked. Google, Apple, Facebook users exposed. What's being called the largest password leak in history just has been confirmed. So yeah, we know what fixes this, guys. Blockchain fixes this. Look at Constellation already replying that they have the solution, and they're tagging Apple and Google, Apple and Google and Meta. So yeah, Constellation DAG, that's a coin I really like. I follow Dagnum PI. Make sure you guys follow him. He's reposting. All of these companies have relationships with the Department of Defense as well, and Constellation is one of them. So yeah, that is a silly graph is good, guys. The DAGs, we got to keep our eyes on the DAGs in the future. They're going to be doing a lot with data, a lot more than I know about. I would like to know a lot more about the DAGs, all the different DAGs. You know, Hedera is a DAG, Constellation is a DAG. Very cool technology. What else do we have? We got Trump posting that the Senate just passed an incredible bill that is going to make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. Nobody will do it better. It's a pure genius. Digital assets are the future, and the nation is going to own it. We're talking about massive investment. Wow. There you go, guys. And crypto's still in the gutter. And Trump posts something like this: massive investment and big innovation. The House will hopefully move lightning fast and pass a clean genius act and get it to his desk ASAP with no delays, no add-ons. This is American brilliance at its best, and we're going to show the world how to win with digital assets like never before. Wow. And then Eleanor Terrett posted that there's a flurry of calls coming in from industry stakeholders to the Hill with questions about what his directive could mean for the passage of the other bill, the market structure legislation, which the House is considering moving alongside the stablecoin legislation in a bid to get both of them across the finish line by Trump's executive order August deadline. So everything's lining up with his executive order. Looks like they're on track. And we're just in the right place at the right time. What's up, Evan? Good to see you. And then we had Powell not change the rates yesterday, and Trump came out too late. Jerome Powell is costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars. He's truly one of the dumbest and the most destructive people in the government. Yeah, I would. That's putting it nicely, saying it like that. You know, we know what's going on. We know that there's corruption going on, guys, and the Fed board is complicit. He says Europe has had 10 cuts and we've had none. We should be 2.5 points lower and save billions on all Biden's short-term debt, and we have low inflation. Too late, an American disgrace. So yeah, he's going to call out Powell for sure. Cool. Let's get into the Conectr coins. What's popping off on the Conectr coin list today? Veritasium's up 12.5%, and Stronghold finally had a little, it's been doing okay, but after that announcement of the escrow, 60% of the escrow, I expect this thing to do a lot more. You know what it did for Ripple's XRP when they announced that escrow. So yeah, we had that announcement just a couple of days ago, 60% of the supply, and we proved it on chain with the Stellar Explorer. So yeah, let's see what happened the past 30 days with Stronghold. Looking good, looking strong. There's some volume there. Good to see. Yeah, guys, for you newbies, anytime, we got a lot of different levels of experience in crypto that watch the show. For the newbies, you have to keep an eye on the supply of the coins, right? So compare the prices to other coins with the same supply of the coins. It's just like the money, the M2, the amount of currency in circulation. The more currency there is, the cheaper it is, the more diluted the value it is. And that's what the Fed's been doing to us for decades. And that's no different. Same thing applies to this cryptocurrency space. So when you take out 60% of the supply out of circulation and no one can use it, well, that of course drives up demand. And what else do we have? Oh yeah, and I want to mention right quick, speaking of supply, just to remind you guys, 100% of all Atom Cosmos tokens are out in circulation. There's not many projects like that. Everything's out in the public. So they have, you can see right here, circulating 390 million versus the total supply is 390 million. So they're all out there. And this thing's still cheap. Look, it even pulled back a little bit, 3.9. I know I've mentioned this several times on the stream, but there's lots of good news coming out of Cosmos, the IBC layer. Look at this right here. We've got Telegram onboarding into Cosmos. The TAC, the Telegram, what did it stand for? The application chain, the TON application chain has chosen Cosmos as its home to build EVM compatible app layer. Let's see here. Let's read through it. Crypto's got a cold start problem. TAC and Telegram are changing that. Most projects build big, expensive tech first, then pray to find product market fit, and then often struggle to attract users. But the TON blockchain is flipping the script by bringing Web3 infrastructure directly to Telegram, which has more than 1 billion users. The TAC, the application chain for Telegram, for TON, TON's the ticker. EVM compatible layer 1 chain on the Cosmos SDK. So you've got all kinds of coins connecting to Cosmos. What is that? Map of zones. Very cool site here if you want to see all the coins right quick connected to the IBC layer. Don't forget about XLR connected to IBC, which is the bridge layer to the XRP ledger. Look at all these coins, guys. Let's see if I can, you've got your main native coin, the Cosmos Hub was the original. And there's your AMM, the osmosis. And there, of course, there's XLR. It shows all the XLR connections to all these other coins. So we love interoperability on the channel. Evan says, I need more Cosmos, waiting for a meme coin to pop so you can swing it into Atom. Not a bad idea at all. So yeah, check out Map of Zones if you want to look at all these different chains. And what's, of course there's some meme coins on this IBC network. But guys, a lot of these coins are utility coins, unlike a lot of other chains. There's a cost. We saw Grok predicted 2 AI coins for its render and a cost was the 2 that Grok picked yesterday as the ones that will prevail soon. So don't forget about Akash. But yeah, look at all these coins. They're all utility coins. There's Corium. Don't forget, you got Corium. You have to pay Corium fees to access Solotex coming in August. They're going to put every single stock on chain in August, guys. But yeah, where's the first meme coin? I don't even see one yet. There's Chihuahua. There's a few, of course. All right, cool. What's going on? What else is going on today? We've got Elon Musk set to rival Robinhood with its in-app trading and debit cards. So the X app is coming, guys. They're prepared to launch a suite of financial tools aimed at transforming the platform into a full-service super app. The features include in-app trading and investment capabilities. It's a long-term strategy by Elon Musk to transform X into a serious competitor of well-established fintech companies such as Robinhood. And of course, Robinhood bought Bitstamp. They will be competing with their digital asset strategy. And of course, Bitstamp's a long partner of Ripple. X to offer in-app trading and investment services. New services will be native to the app and will not require third-party integration. You'll be able to transact your whole financial life from the platform. Complete payments or execute trades within the app interface. However, the company is not yet to provide an official rollout date. X is reportedly partnered with Visa to facilitate these services. Financial features bring X into fintech competition. So yeah, it's coming, guys. It's coming. Be patient. We know we're patient. We've been here long enough to get through all this mess. Bobby T says, all I need is my Zebek. I got to get back into Zebek. I never transferred it into that cold wallet. So if it's on an exchange, it's at the risk of me liquidating it sometimes. Yeah, but Zebek's a good one, definitely. And I noticed, a couple of people talking about the ship. Where is it? If you'll look, for those who didn't see it, we had I don't have the BG123 picture, but it showed, the barrel on the ship, and the ship's called a Zebek. So here you've got Ripple meeting with Trump. Riz says, lock in. Look at the green candlesticks right behind these guys. And you've got the Zebek ship in the background. And of course, Zebek was created after the BG123 picture showing the Zebek ship. Some could say, well, they just named it after the BG picture. But who knows, guys? Who knows what was foreseen, And look at the logo. If you can, let me zoom in a little bit if I can. I never noticed it, but doesn't it look like the logo is a ship? You got the sail right above the lower part. Interesting. Never know. Cointelegraph is posting update. Over 100 companies now collectively hold more than 830,000 BTC. Evan says, keep an eye on SWFTC. Swift coin? Question mark. You never know. Why wouldn't they create their own coin and try to stay relevant somehow, settle with that? Bobby T says, Zebek will buy me land and a home in Sardinia. Nice. I'll be able to put a little Zebek to sell around the island. One life, guys. That's it. Need to live it. Yeah. Yeah, you got to live. You only get one. Need to live it. We've got the top companies. Let's just read through the top few just to know who's holding all the Bitcoin. MicroStrategy, 592,000. Marathon Digital, way down to 49,000. 21, Riot, Galaxy, CleanSpark, and then Tesla's number 7th. Coinbase is 10th. GameStop's 13th. Exodus, 19th, with 2,000 of them. Just interesting to see which ones, All right, cool. Let's look back at our Conectr coins. Let's see, we've got Metal Blockchain, trying to have a little run back again. That layer 0. Guys, that Metal Blockchain, if you didn't know, they're going to have subnets, just like XRP Ledger is going to have side chains. And with these subnets, they're touting infinite scalability. So each bank can have their own blockchain, actually, and use build it on Metal, layer 0 Metal. Evan says, Zebek, also spelled with the X, is a type of Mediterranean sailing ship known for its speed and maneuverability. Yeah. Kind of quite a connection there, Hope everybody's doing great today on this Thursday. Give me a like if you could. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. Appreciate you joining if you're new. Welcome in. Let's see here. What else did I have next? We went over Elon. What's this right here? We've got the XRP Ledger powers the first biometric blockchain ID with the genomic hash mesh integration. DNA Protocol launches a real-time DNA identity network on XRP, unlocking BioFi and ZK genomic authentication. Wow, this is pretty deep here, guys. DNA Protocol uses XRP to anchor hashed DNA data for real-time biometric identity verification. We've got to be careful with this, dealing with centralized entities. Personally, I say bring it on anytime you can cryptographically lock up data that we control. I'm down with that. But if we're not in control of it, I'm not down with it. So, would be nice to, they talk about medicine coming out that is DNA specific, which is probably a good thing. But I want to be in control of that. I want to be in control of who sees that and who gets that information, Genomic mesh, hash mesh validates genome sequences using Merkle proofs and ZK comparison. BioFi enables KYC, health passports, and DSI models without exposing raw DNA data. I can see, if you need to go to a new doctor, instead of having the old doctor transfer all your medical information. Despite innovation, XRP dips. Yeah, we've seen that. XRP Ledger is taking a new turn far beyond digital payments by integrating biometric identity into decentralized infrastructure. Wow. The future's here, guys. We see how it's laying out. We see how it's unfolding. We just have to make sure we don't sign away our rights, guys. We have to make sure that we're in charge of this stuff. That's pretty deep there. Probably a lot to read into. Not a concept, not a white paper, a working cryptographic system where your DNA becomes verifiable identity anchor on chain. Why was the XRP ledger chosen for this? Because of low transaction fees, real-time finality, and consistent global uptime. DNA protocol leverages these features to ensure that a geometric hash remains both scalable and clinically viable. So you've got good and you've got bad on everything that's coming out. So you can definitely see how this could be used for bad and good. High integrity data logging, especially in biological applications where accuracy and speed are essential. By using XRP to anchor proofs, DNA protocol aims to provide a reliable foundation for biometric authentication. Wow. This is pretty wild, guys. The project also opens the door for AI and decentralized science, DeSci models, trained at user consistent genomic hashes. Each use case from clinical trial matching to digital vault access runs directly through XRP anchored mesh. Wow, the future is here, and it's scary. And it's exciting at the same time. What a wild world we're developing into. Let's check out what am I on here? Top made in America cryptos by market cap today. Top ones in the past 24 hours. SEI up 11%. Aerodrome is up again today a little bit, 7%. Relio is up 5%. What's crashing in America? Wilder World, Wildcoin. And Story IP's having a pullback. Ravencoin popped off last week, but it's pulled back again this week. Up and down, up and down. All right, cool. Let's take a quick look at cryptocurrency sectors. Which sectors are popping off today? Clanker ecosystem's up with the token bot. AI memes are up 12%, with AI Cell pushing that category up, and Parallel EVM with the SIA coin pushing that one up. Gambling's up a little bit. Oh yeah, I was going to mention again with this Bitcoin, MicroStrategy holding all this Bitcoin. We looked at Tron the other day. They're going to do the same strategy, it looks like. The same thing MicroStrategy been doing with borrowing Bitcoin to collateralize it so they can borrow more Bitcoin, rinse and repeat. Looks like Tron's going to be doing the same thing. And as a matter of fact, I don't even think I added Tron on my list, but we are definitely going to do that now. 27 cents for your Tron. They are going public. So they're going to be doing the same thing that MicroStrategy is doing, it looks like. So you saw what that did for Bitcoin. All right, cool. Let's keep it moving. We want to put in as much information as we can in as little time. That's what we do on the channel. We research and we entertain. Nice. Today's Thursday, June 19th. Google Cloud got a grant or something. Imagine that. What else do we have? Here we go. There's a Zebek Spaces right now, probably. If you guys want to check that out on X or rewatch it after the show. What else do we have? There's Dash. Forgot about Dash. Hadn't seen that logo in a while. They have it Spaces. AVAX. I guess that's the Spaces. Liquidity vote for XCN. Onyx. Don't forget about Onyx coin. They had a good run up a while back. And this one's on the Conectr coins. It's a poll to provide 1 million liquidity in Onyx USD pair and the Onyx Binance pair on PancakeSwap and Binance Chain. Don't forget, guys, Binance is having USD1 injection, liquidity injection on Binance Chain. You know, WorldFi is all about USD1. So they're just, there's a poll to increase support with 1 million liquidity for these chains. Yeah, it's interesting to see which projects pump liquidity into different exchanges, different chains. Everything's going multi-chain. So how do you decide how many coins are put on one chain, how many are put on the other? You know, if it's centralized, if it's like a stablecoin issuer, they can just withdraw it from one chain and issue it on another chain on the back end. No need to interoperate for the issuer side. Let's look at the Bitcoin dominance today. Hovering around the same thing, 61%. Total crypto market cap is down just a little bit, 3.19 trillion. Of course, that's over the month. Over the week, it's down 5%. Over 6 months, is hovering about the same. And about the same on the year. What's popping off in stocks today? Well, today's Juneteenth, right? So the stock market is closed. Let's move on. And is the Dixie chart still going up because of war threats? For the dollar, the value of the dollar, it's hovering about the same. Back up a little bit. And dollars pumping the value of the war, threats of war are pumping the dollar value on the Dixie chart. All right, but our real asset is gold, guys. What's the price of gold? It's the best performing asset this year, I think. Major asset. $3,373 for gold. Silver's at $36.40. Let's see if there's any other commodities popping off. Of course, oil's up with threats of war. Let's see what Trump family's doing with quietly reducing its stake in World Liberty Fi. A new report claims one of Trump's companies is quietly reducing its share in World Liberty Financial, going from 60% ownership to 40% ownership. You know, they're just kind of spreading that out, is all it looks like. This happened sometime in the last 11 days. However, there are several competing theories to why Trump did this. It's not clear. If he's already sold these shares. Yeah, they need to spread out that ownership. Not a big deal there. Okay, Crypto Panic. Let's check out any articles coming out as we stream. Get a sip of water. Hope you guys are doing good. For those that are working, keep it up. It won't be too much longer, hopefully. Waves protocol units. Network raises 10 million as AI blockchain market heats up. I still hold a few of those waves in an old wallet. I remember Waves. I think that's a Russian blockchain, Russian base, because when that war broke out in 2022, Waves popped off big time. Probably pulled back by now, though. Bank of England maintains interest rates. Meta owns WhatsApp, enables Bitcoin payments. Visa and Yellow Card push digital dollar use across African countries. That's what it's all about, guys. Trying to keep the US dollar the dominant currency. And they have to use stablecoins to do that. There's no way out of it besides stablecoins. So it looks like we must be going to kind of a multipolar world where you've got different currencies able to interact with each other. What else do we have? JP Morgan executive warns of overcrowding in the stablecoin market. Oh, of course they do. They want to promote their joint venture stablecoin because JP Morgan is teaming up with several other big banks to create a common stablecoin. Imagine that. Centralized exchanges are embracing the DeFi mullet. Yeah, bring on DeFi. We don't really need centralized exchanges, guys. If we can get paid in crypto, why would you need a centralized exchange? This looks like they're going to be relevant for a little while longer, though. They've been rapidly moving their businesses on chain. Yeah, we saw that with Coinbase moving to on chain with the base, and there they get. And to get there, they're all leveraging their biggest trump card, distribution. So Bybit announced ByReal on Sunday, a DEX on Solana that's set to launch later this year. Along with the DEX, also a yield product, Revive Vault, and the token launchpad, Reset Launch. So Bybit's going on chain. Wow. With a lot of other exchanges doing the same thing, guys. They're coming over to our neck of the woods, right? It's what we're used to, being on chain. ByReal will route liquidity from its SEX through a hybrid RFQ, request for quote, plus the CLMM, concentrating liquidity market maker model. So on-chain users can trade on-chain with a SEX's liquidity depth. Yeah, that makes sense. Take it from their exchange and put it on-chain with a hybrid model. Interesting. My guess is Bybit users will also be able to access ByReal from the main SEX app. Centralized exchange app. Coinbase announced a few days later a direct integration of the base's DEX onto its exchange business, set to roll out this week. DEX from other chains will also be integrated eventually. This opens up gasless trading access to thousands of altcoins. So yeah, they're going to be losing their fees, right? If it moves on chain. If it's on chain, all you have to pay is the chain, the gas fees. Maker-taker fees. So they're definitely going to lose out on that, but they realize it and they're trying to stay relevant. That's a significant tailwind for DEXs on base, namely its largest one, Aerodrome. And Aerodrome has been popping off lately. That's an American crypto. The Aero token. This isn't the first attempt to push on-chain. Yeah, we had, I forget who was in the chat the other day. Yeah, somebody was saying that, you know, they don't really like base. I guess the fees in and out of it. But you've got the CB, the Coinbase Bitcoin. It's a wrap product. And you've got different coins like Coinbase, XRP, CB, XRP. And I think he was saying when you send it, I've never even used base. But I think he was saying when you send it from base to the actual exchange, it shows up as the actual token. So you can have CB XRP, and when you send that to the exchange, it shows up as XRP. So there's lots of derivatives out there. Be careful out there which derivative you're in. It's just a look-alike the original token, you know. What else do we have? What's up, Tony Bags? Good to see you. Doing pretty good. Just going through some news. Looking at how these exchanges are moving volume on chain, trying to stay relevant. Trump accuses entire Fed board of sabotage. Reserves blame for ringleader Powell. Yeah, I mean, I know we have ISO standards coming up with Fed now, but really it just seems like, you know, what's the relevancy going to be in the future for the Federal Reserve? Is crypto kind of like a Trojan horse? I mean, banks trust it. Banks have to use it to send payments. RTP. It's going to go RTP. So why do they have to go through the Fed? Why can't they just use blockchain? Well, this stuff isn't really trusted yet, guys. They're working it out, though, and that comes with regulations, and that's where we're at. We're at a point of no return if we get regulations going. What else? One Inch integrates Sonic Network. Okay. Yep, we saw the Genius Act pass the other day. Cool. Let's look at news now. Just check out a few sites, make sure we don't miss anything. What's up, Silver Days? Good to see you. We saw this yesterday. Israel-Iran conflict. Hackers say they wiped out 90 million from Iran's cryptocurrency exchange yesterday. And Iranian bank got hacked at the same time, losing all of their data. Wow. And we had the password leak. 16 million passwords leaked this morning. Apple, Google, Facebook users exposed. It's all going on chain, guys. We just got to figure out when and how it's going to get there and live through this. We're in the right place at the right time. I know it's taking forever, but you can see how it's folding out. There's got to be a catalyst. And that, to me, is, of course, cyber attacks. You know, there's got to be a need for this stuff. People need to beg for it, you know? Coinbase CLO says it's time to catch up as Canada beats the U.S. to a spot XRP ETF. Yep, that started what, yesterday? First spot ETF in North America. So we need that to come to the States. This might be what we saw earlier. Did the Trump family quietly retreat from $1 billion crypto play? Yeah, it looks like they're selling some shares of WorldFi. Let's see if there's any more detail. What's up, Buckles? Buckles is lurking in the chat. Trump family has reportedly reduced its grip on world liberty. Maybe that's something political, you know. Maybe that's part of this legislation, the ethics involved with the president holding interest in this stuff. Financial revolution, and it offers an upgraded digital dollar on centralized exchanges. WorldFi is promising that. Okay, according to a report, Trump's family stake went from 60 to 40% in a silent, unannounced transaction over the past 2 weeks. It developed without public notice. We're just now hearing about it. Looks like DT Marks DeFi LLC is controlled by Trump and his sons, who had officially offloaded a portion of their holdings earlier this year. So yeah, I like to keep up with WorldFi. I'm just not sure about their portfolio yet. We've been looking at their portfolio, and I'm not sure if they're going out and buying some of these meme coins, or are the issuers of the coins sending them to their public wallet like they did Vitalik. All right, cool. Let's look at our X bookmarks. What's Buckles up to? Anyone buying PEAQ on Uphold? Peak. Haven't heard of that one. Let's take a look at it. $0.07 with $4 billion total supply, $300 million market cap. Like it's pulled back a little bit from 65 cents earlier this year. It's like a pretty new coin. Yeah, Uphold's been getting some of the newer coins coming out. I know there's these levels of rewards where you can get like early access to coins on Uphold. It's a decentralized physical infrastructure project. Nice. Peak. There's your order book. So for you newbies, the center line here is the middle, the price. The red is your sell orders, and the green is your buy orders. So we're looking for the spread on a lot of these coins. And this is the data taken from all the exchanges and hopefully DEXs. So if you got more sales on this side, if there's a bigger sell wall, always be careful. If you've got more buys on the right side in the green, if all this was green, but you might be able to buy it cheap because they haven't filled yet on some exchanges. It's kind of different looking at this over all of the exchanges versus looking at just one exchange and looking at the spread. What's up, Mojo? Let's go. Looks like it's on BitGate, Gate.io, and Buckle said uphold. Delegated proof of stake. Yeah, everything's going to, I mean, that's going to be big, this deep end sector. And what was that other one? What was that Swift coin? I want to take a look at that. I can't find it in the chat. Let me try to search. Oh, I see it now. SWFTC from Evan. Swift coin ranked 1,300. Yeah, Evan likes those deep dives. No telling, though. You might get lucky every now and then. Some of this stuff may be hiding in plain sight. Who knows, guys? I don't know if it's a scam or what. It's at a penny now. 10 billion supply. Does have $114 million market cap. Ethereum coin. And it's on Coinbase. Wow. Let's look at their X. Swift blockchain. Discover optimal liquidity paths across DEXs and bridges. You stay in control. We write it for you. Swift blockchain. I'm already following it. $85,000 followers. Smart cross-chain routing. No custodial execution. Yeah, it's on Coinbase. Yeah. Right there. Number one market. You had $1 million worth of trading on Coinbase in the past 24 hours. What's up, Heather? Good to see you in the chat. HBAR. Kind of reminds me of call Garth Brooks, Barf Brooks. Huh. Never know, guys. Some of this stuff might be worth taking. No financial advice, but it might be taking a gamble. Might pay off. Who knows? I mean, to me, it kind of legitimizes it being on Coinbase. Let's look at their website. What's up, Maximum? He says, Swift is a ripple of Asia. Nice. This product services are currently unavailable in your area. Let me try something else. Nope. So that makes sense if it's a ripple of Asia. I thought VELO was a ripple of Asia. I don't know. Hadn't heard any news from VELO in a while. Swift blockchain. Let's see if there's any comments on it. Yeah, I don't know if there's any affiliation with the actual, Swift entity, but looks like a good project. I mean, it's choosing the best DEX routing, the best bridge routing. Sounds like a use case to me. 70 million in USDT and USDC just flowed to a multi-sig wallet. Pretty good info. Let's see who they're following. Well, they're following a lot. I'm not going to look at that. All right, we've got X bookmarks. Where we at? Today, Australian dollar stablecoin AUDD officially launches on the Hedera network. All right, later, Jeffrey. Have a good time at work. Everything goes smoothly and is over quickly. Hedera gets a stable coin. Zhao DAO. This came out, yesterday? Introducing the Zhao DAO, a new era of decentralized innovation on the XRP ledger. Make sure we're following them. Yep. Decentralized Autonomous Organization is a DAO, for those who don't know. Kind of a new type of company, like a LLC or S Corp, C Corp. Now you've got DAOs, where the holders of the coins get to make the votes and the decisions. They're the owners of the company, right? A new era of decentralized innovation on the XRP ledger. It's not just another DAO, it's a next-gen governance engine built for the XRPL that empowers members to participate, vote, build, and fund real-world innovation. Here's how it works. Decentralized organization that operates on blockchain tech that allows members to participate in decision-making processes, empowering collective decision-making through blockchain. Shifts power and control from a central authority to the community. Blockchain tech, core technology ensures transparency, security, and reliable operations. And member participation encourages active member participation in decision-making processes. It's how a DAO should work. So what does it matter? Promotes transparency. It empowers individual and governance and supports community-led initiatives. Core principles are empowerment, encourage active participation, transparency, ensure open, honest processes, community, back local grassroots projects, sustainability built with revenue-generating business principles. This isn't a passive DAO membership. It's an engine of action fueled by you. Access to unique opportunities and decisions, opportunity to grow and show the community, support the community, allocation of financial outcomes. You're not just a member, you help shape the future of the XRP ledger. You can vote, propose new ideas, vote with fair weight gap. XRP held at the time of the snapshot. So how many XRP you hold is your voting power, right? Votes are cast during a fixed window. Results are tallied and posted publicly. Governance is earned, not given. So you have to earn governance power by holding tokens. And, if you hold multiple wallets, you can probably vote multiple times. I don't know though. What if you vote and you've got, say, 1,000 XRP on this wallet, and a couple of days later, the matter's still open, the proposal's still open, and you've got another wallet with 0 XRP in it, or, the minimum. Can you transfer that 1,000 to the new wallet and vote again and have another 1,000? I don't know. I don't know why I think outside the box like that. I guess that's a good thing though. Directs how funding is allocated, shapes XRPL development roadmap, builds momentum for initiatives like dApps, validators, and education. Connects your wallet to meaningful governance. DAOs thrive on action, and your action matters. I guess you had to vote on strategic grants, open ideas, creative or unconventional projects outside of standard categories, all different grants. No airdrops, no pre-sales. Focuses on utility and governance. Community first. That's good to see. You know, XRP, they're a steward of the actual coins in escrow, and they held, Ripple, they're the steward of the XRP coins in escrow, and they hold a few on their own as well. But the XRP ledger is decentralized. I don't even know what they were. A couple of years ago, that Ripple had 7% of the validator power. I think it's down to like 2 now, I want to say. I might be wrong about that. But, you know, that's open source tech. And the community has a say-so now with the DAO. And what happens on the XRP ledger. Nice. It's good to see. Riz is posting David Sachs talking about stablecoins. This is the crypto czar. I guess we can take a little listen to this.
No, I think that the stablecoin bill is very helpful. It provides regulatory clarity and stability for the stablecoin industry. Like you were saying, there's already something like $250 billion in float of stablecoins, and that's out without there being a true regulatory framework in the United States. Right now, the number one issuer of stablecoins is offshore. And what this bill would do is provide like I said, the regulatory clarity and safety. It would bring.
Don't forget, we covered the UBYX, the new company that Peter Thiel invested $10 million in. UBYX is going to interoperate stablecoins for banks, so you can redeem other stablecoins for that bank's stablecoin, and you can redeem foreign CBDCs for that bank stablecoin using UBYX. What's up, John 316? Thoughts on Crow? You know, I've never really got into exchange tokens. You know, if you're interested in an exchange token, that's just me, guys. But you're limited to activities on that exchange. I'm sure there is speculation outside of that. But what's the utility case, right? Isn't that still crypto.com, the Crow coin? I might be wrong about that. So many coins, it's hard to keep up with them all, but appreciate you joining in the chat.
The whole stablecoin industry onshore. It would enhance consumer protection. The issuers of stablecoins would have to get audited on a quarterly basis. Consumers could be confident that their dollar-based stablecoins were reserved on a one-to-one basis with actual dollars in U.S. bank accounts. And I think this would increase confidence in the industry. And I think that you would also see banks getting into the act. I think you'd see traditional financial players getting involved in it, and that's why the float is expected to grow from, call it, roughly 250 billion to trillions of dollars. And that would create more demand for the U.S. dollar internationally. I think you could see other economies start to dollarize from the bottom up as their citizens would prefer to use U.S. digital dollars as opposed to whatever fiat currency they're using. And that would create potentially trillions of dollars of new demand for.
So that CBDC goes back to the foreign country once it's swapped out using that UBYX. UBYX is a company. And it's pretty wild how these banks still have to have a pre-funded account with UBYX. Yeah, you thought we were getting away from Nostro Vostro accounts, didn't you? Well, in certain situations, they can. And I'm sure eventually it'll go like that. I mean, a lot of this stuff right now, we're in the kind of the weird zone where legacy meets the future. And so trust isn't quite there yet. Crow is also for the Visa debit and credit cards. Okay. Yeah. Got to have that connection for sure.
For U.S. Treasury. So I think this bill is a major piece of legislation. I think it's a fantastic bill just on its own. I think that the House should go ahead and take it up, and I think they will take it up, and I think they're going to put it on the president's desk very soon.
What about
Evans replying about Crow. Crow's been to the White House with Trump recently, and they've done some kind of a deal to integrate them into the U.S. Okay, nice. Never know. Seems like a good exchange, crypto.com. I haven't ever had any or seen many problems with crypto.com. It's American, right? I think so.
About businesses taking it up, as you say, people waiting in the wings, reports Amazon, Walmart wanting to have their own stablecoin issuance. What is the regulatory oversight going to be like? You say, of course, it's put in stone in terms of the law. What about the resources for the regulation? Because there's going to be a lot to analyze, it feels like.
Yeah, so the
exchange coin can go big. Look at BNB. Yeah, totally. You're right, Evan. Yeah, I used to have BNB, but our government locked us out of it. That's why I was mad at that. So I had to go sell my BNB because we were going to lose access to an off-ramp. But yeah, it could go big, that's for sure. How big is crypto.com compared to Binance? What's the market share? You have to look at stuff like that. Why doesn't like Coinbase or Uphold have their own token? I know KuCoin has their own. Evan tries to keep 1,000 Crow just in case. Not a bad idea.
Stablecoins will be under the purview of the banking system, and banking regulators will look at that, and stablecoin issuers will have to go through a regulatory process, and they'll get approved. And like I said, there'll be quarterly audits. And I think that the bill will provide the framework that will give confidence to a lot of traditional financial players to enter the space. And so I think you're going to see new stablecoin products, and I think you'll also see stablecoins being used as payments. I think this is one of the really exciting things about the bill is that blockchain infrastructure will be used as a new kind of dollar-based payment system.
Yes.
That's faster, it's more efficient, smoother. It's a payment system of the future. It's kind of ironic that when the crypto industry really started with Bitcoin about 15 years ago, what was anticipated is that you would get a new kind of currency. You would get a non-fiat currency. But as it turns out, a really important use case of blockchains has been to support digital dollars, to support tokenized dollars.
Yeah, do people not see about these stable coins? Did they not get how they work, how they're going to work? They just think that it has nothing to do with crypto, that stable coins are different. It just fathoms me. It just blows my mind that this stuff isn't taking off yet. We've got stablecoin legislation ready to go. Did they not know that they need rails to run on? I guess they don't. I guess we do, though.
And I think you'll see the extension of that payment system online with that legislation, and that's a really exciting thing. We don't want this innovation being driven offshore. Right now, like I said, the leading stablecoin issuer is offshore. I think that you will see this be a new U.S.-based payment system that emerges online.
A new U.S.-based payment system that emerges. The stablecoin payment system. That's right. You got to have those rails. Evan says Coinbase might come out with their own airdrop for their users, for their own token. It's always been word on the streets, but who knows? Yeah, who knows? That'd be interesting. Why wouldn't they, right? Why haven't they already? maybe waiting for legislations. And we were talking about JP Morgan. They're mad that they're upset. I don't know what we covered earlier, a little headline that JP Morgan was warning against all of these different stable coins, that there's too much competition in the market, right? That's basically what they're saying. And this is what they're doing. The big four are teaming up for their own joint stablecoin. The Genius Act is critical for this. So yeah, they don't want competition, guys. Imagine that. Imagine JP Morgan not wanting stablecoin competition. What's up, Halifax? Dana? Good to see you. Yeah, I could have predicted that. Yep, we had the Senate passed the Stablecoin Genius Act. And we've got Brad Garlinghouse replying, for years, crypto companies have been calling on Congress to pass crypto legislation and set rules of the road. This is the first major financial bill since Dodd-Frank. The first crypto bill to pass the Senate, which now moves to the House. A truly historic moment. There you go. Ida Farina, RLUSD takeover begins now. "24 Hours Crypto." Years from now, we'll look back at this chapter in financial history. People will realize just how pivotal this moment was, not just for crypto, but for the modernization of the entire global financial system. And we're living right through it, guys. For too long, innovation has outpaced regulation, leaving both companies and consumers in limbo. This is more than a bill. It's a signal that the U.S. is finally stepping into the future with clarity, accountability, and vision. It's about time we get that going. So let's see what the House does with it. If they, Trump's asking the House not to amend it. So if they don't amend it, they could just vote on it like it is. But Eleanor Terrett was saying that they might, what did she say? They might combine it with the Clarity Act. David Sachs is pro crypto and has been a Solana hedge fund owner. Okay. Yeah, he's all in it. What's up, D Cartel? Lock in. That's a picture for the history books right there. That was the, if I can say it right, that was the beef bourguignon moment, right? I think I'm saying that right. I need dual citizen to help me with that. He was good on that. But that's what is that dish? It was meant to be back in the day. Parties would celebrate after a big agreement, and they'd have the beef bourguignon dish. And then Stuart Adirati on the right mentioned the beef bourguignon dish after this meeting. So what happened? What was agreed upon? This was what, about a month ago, 2 months ago? What happened there? And why is this Zebek ship in the background there? Why is one of them transparent? One of them you can see. The one you can see, it looks like it's blasting. Shooting a cannon at the transparent one. Defeating. Or it might be the other way around, who knows? But we like transparency. Move government on chain. Transparent. Move all these NGOs on chain where we can see what they're doing with our money, guys. Move all these nonprofits on chain. I want to know, if I give money to Salvation Army, where it goes, what it's being spent on. I want to make sure somebody in another country somewhere isn't buying a yacht with my money, right? All of that needs to be on chain, needs to be transparent. Privacy's for the people. Halifax, could Ripple buy U.S. Treasury with the XRP war chest and back the RLUSD with the Treasury? Yeah, what's coming out of escrow, why couldn't they? Yeah. You know, they talked about, the government can't buy digital assets directly, but why couldn't they trade it for treasuries, right? And then back to RLUSD. That's exactly right, Halifax, Dano. And then the Ripple gets all the yield off the T-bills, which I don't agree with, but it is what it is. We saw in the Genius Act that, retail is not going to be able to keep yield because they don't want investment tied up in currency. So they're considering this stuff like currency, and you don't get yield on currency, but there is one entity that can keep yield on stablecoins, and that's banks. They're going to allow banks to keep yield on stablecoins deposits accounts. So maybe it's like a bank now. You know, we get what, 0.1% interest on our checking accounts. So maybe we will get some kind of yield through a banking account. You know, why wouldn't we? If the bank has the underlying collateral, T-bills that they're buying with our money, with our deposit accounts, and they're keeping all the yield, why couldn't we get a cut of that? Looks like we're going to if it goes through a bank institution. Strong SHX let the games begin from June 23rd to July 11th. Voluntary period testing kicks off with the new ISO format on Fedwire funds. It marks the beginning of the end for the old ways. This is the future of finance in motion. You in or you just watching? June 23rd kicks off the voluntary testing for Fedwire using ISO standards. That's 4 days away, guys. And then July 14th is the go date. And this is the DTCC. We saw a good, about a month ago, the DTCC held a mock-up margin call using digital assets. Yeah, there you go. That's the incentive right there. Might be some sort of incentive to bring us into custody with them. Exactly. That's their route. I think me and you just figured that out, Halifax, Dano. They got to stay relevant somehow, right? But yeah, the DTCC had a mock-up simulation with digital currencies. There was this bank overseas that had, I can't remember what they went long on. Let's just say they went long on palm oil, a commodity, right? And then a storm happened, and or the supply got too big, and the palm industry was suffering. So their bet on that commodity, they needed to re-up that collateral. So they needed to stay in that position. Just like you guys trading with leverage. You have to stay with that trade. So they needed to keep it going. They had to re-up the initial investment. Was weakened, so they had to make it stronger. They had to re-up it. So they needed more value into that original investment so they didn't get liquidated, right? So the DTCC called that bank in Europe and said, hey, you're about to get liquidated. And the bank said, well, I've got some ERC20 Ultra tokens, which is just an old crypto. Hell, I used to have some Ultra tokens myself. It's like a gaming platform token. I've got some of those in my wallet. Will you accept those? And the DTCC said, yes, We will accept Ultra tokens. So that tells you there, all these tokens are here to stay, guys. I mean, I know they say a lot of them are going to go away. But money is whatever the people agree upon. It's the people. I mean, of course, regulations are going to have their play. And some of them are going to be non-compliant. Look at all the stuff going on about Tether. Non-compliant Tether. But that's for institutions. That's not for private wallets, is it? They can't control that. That's the Fourth Amendment right to put Tether in our wallets. I'm not a Tether fan by means. By no means. What's up, Turple? Note that not all payment banks may support additional voluntary testing. Yeah, so they're just testing. They're starting to test it in 4 days, guys. ISO standards. And of course, I'm positioned well with Stronghold, SHX. Why? Because it brings us even closer to bridging Web3 with traditional finance, unlocking new rails for speed, compliance, and global reach. Stronghold was built for this moment. That's there you go, July 14th. Yep. SHX. Who else is talking about SHX? Crypto Banker's a good one to follow. Let's see if he's posting any. He's got a decade of he's been in global banking regulation and the largest bank on, trying to read through his memes here. He got into XRP at 8 cents. Nice. Let's see if he's posted anything about SHX lately. Oh yeah, he's talking about the market cap, $150 billion market cap minimum by 2028. Nice. Here's a supply shock with SHX. It's drying up. Only 2 million on BitTrue. Yeah, it's drying up. 60% of the supply just been put in escrow. There's our VELO. We like VELO. VELO is already a bank. And their parent company, Lightnet. Lightnet owns all the 7-Eleven stores in Asia. Lightnet acts as the next generation SWIFT and can connect state-of-the-art digital technology on the ground with on the ground cash in, cash out ventures. Of course, they're using Stellar. VELO is the clearinghouse for the country of Laos. They use VELO for their back-end infrastructure on Stellar, but they use Solana token to settle with. That's interesting. At least that's the way it was about a year ago when we went through that, when I started the channel out. We were covering VELO hard about a year ago. Danny says VELO and Stronghold are great additions on the Stellar blockchain. However, another coin that is also a bank is actually on the XFIM blockchain called GBEX. I still hold a few GBEX as well. That app, though, that app keeps changing and updating, so I don't know if I need to update that or what. It's kind of like a centralized app, GBEX. And GBEX is cheap, too. It's gone way down. Okay, Charlie B says, don't go there. It's a scam. I don't hold much of it. Any of those tokens kind of iffy. You never know. Kind of like just taking a chance. Make sure you get the right smart contract when you buy coins, especially on Stellar, especially if you're in that Lobster wallet. Turple says, seems like the realization that everything can be bridged is starting to set in. Yeah, that made the best chain win in the long run there, right? Made the best one rule them all. The fastest, cheapest, most liquid. Why do you think Ripple's been concentrating on liquidity? ODL, on-demand liquidity. You've got to be able to get in and out of these markets, especially when you bring tokenization into this. With all these tokenized assets, you've got to pair them with a liquid counterparty, non-counterparty native asset for that liquidity. You can pair it with any other asset, but it needs to have, to me, it's really appealing to have it paired with liquid markets. Cointelegraph just in. Trump says digital assets are the future of, and our nation is going to own it. Oh, I'm still on Crypto Banker's site. Smoke Doll says Visa's ready for Fed now. FedNow is a seamless, always on single hub connecting multiple faster payment networks, 24/7, 365 payment processing. And guys, you know there's the FedNow service provider list that's out. You can look that up. And it will give you all the service providers that are connected to FedNow. And most of them are fintechs, right? That use cryptos, different crypto chains. So they have the option to use any of these as long as they've got the ability to be labeled as a, ISO, to be compliant with the ISO standards. Most of them are fintechs, but guys, there's two companies that actually issue cryptocurrencies. The first one has been on there the longest, Metallicus. The second one just added Bank Social, BSL. But BSL does not have the check mark for the liquidity provision. So that to me says Metallicus might be something there to look at. This is just going how that a customer can send or receive a payment to their bank, and the bank can use Visa with direct connections to RTP FedNow. Visa connects directly to the networks for transaction processing and normalizes activity into a single message format for financial institutions. Appreciate that, Smoke Dog. There you've got Product Vision Global Cross Network payments through one interface. Facebook, Google, Uber, Airbnb. And then in the big circle is the Ripple circle, with Ripple Liquidity Service connected to PayPal, Visa, ACH, and Alipay. Wow, look at that Alipay there. Nice. And we covered this earlier. X will soon launch investing and trading directly on the app. Elon's bringing crypto to the Everything app. So do you think Elon's going to be charging fees, guys? You think you're going to have to pay a fee to send and trade? You think if you send one from one X account to the other, if you want to send 50 cents, you think that you're going to have to pay 55 cents? I don't know. I know that XPR network does not charge any gas. And there's already @ names. So my WebAuth wallet is at Mr. Conectr. And they've already given Elon 10 billion XPR tokens if he accepts to use it in X.com. So that's just one chain though that's trying to get involved. So that's kind of my guess. You know, I would assume maybe, of course, XRP is going to be used for back end stuff. I believe settlement between entities, things like that. But inside of the entity, I don't think that the mainnet XRP will be used. Maybe I might be wrong about that. You might be paying drops. Who knows? I don't mind. But to the masses, I think it needs to be like cash. It needs to be feeless, right? That's just my take on it. And of course, Grok looks like the Stellar logo. But, you know, he's going to probably have all these tokens. But are the tokens going to be tradable? Or are you going to get native coins on X? Are you going to be able to get XRP, XLM, Bitcoin, Ethereum? Or are you going to get XXRP, XBTC, XETH, derivatives of the coins? I don't know, just thinking outside the box, guys. That's what we'd like to do, though. There we go, July 14th. It is coming, guys. Before we know it, we'll be there. Right? I can't wait for it. See how it all pans out. We're in the right place at the right time. I've been on here an hour and 42 minutes. I think I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to jam out my synths on the way out. I love doing that, guys. Hope you guys enjoy that. Original synth performance. You guys have a great day, a great Thursday. It's almost the weekend. Stay safe out there. Much love to you guys. Mr. Conectr out. Peace.